Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video with On Point Politics. And today we are going to be looking at the highest rated pollster for 2020 and seeing what their new polls result shows. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want more content just like this. And so we see right now on your screen, we see Trump getting 313 electoral votes to Harris's 225. Well, as you all know, this is very uncharacteristic of my forecast. My forecast actually has Trump winning a bigger victory, but I posted one earlier today, and that's actually already outdated because Harris gained another point in favorability on civics, which puts the states of Maine at large in Minnesota in the blue column, which now makes the race 318 to 220 in the latest forecast map that I have. And so now the race seems to be tightening up, and this most accurate forecaster from 2020 has Donald Trump getting 47.7% of the national popular vote to Harris's 46.1%. So again, clearly, just to make it very clear, there has been oversampling of Democrats in the samples. A lot of pollsters have been oversampling for Democrats, and that's because of confirmation biases with Kamala Harris being the new nominee, and pollsters who usually poll correctly are weighing by party to get a more accurate sample of this. However, now it seems like this pollster, who was very accurate in 2020, they predicted Biden plus 4.7 right before the election. It was their final poll, so they were actually spot on in the last cycle, and they've been spot on in multiple foreign elections. So it's not like they were just accurate here. They've been accurate internationally, and they show the race pretty competitive, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is only getting about 4%. So you could even argue that that third-party key should not be flipping in Alan Lichtman's model now, but his social unrest key should still be flipping, which really should give Trump the victory, to be honest. And you see Trump's ahead by about 1.6% in the national popular vote. You see with both candidates, Trump's actually polling at 50%. He's actually ahead by a pretty decent amount. And we even see here that Harris's net favorability is just a little bit lower than Trump. Trump is actually having some of his highest favorables he's ever had. Harris is maybe a little bit boosted due to Democrat polling biases, but Joe Biden's at 42%, and that's what he's been at roughly almost the whole year, a little bit lower than that. But we see that Joe Biden has a lower approval rating than Harris, and Harris may be getting a little bit of a honeymoon period that may be happening. But right now, we are seeing a tightening of the race since this pollster was pretty accurate last cycle. We even see on the issues in terms of education, Harris is up by a bit. On healthcare, Harris is up. Reducing poverty, inequality, Harris is up by 6. Safeguarding democracy, Harris is now up by 6, even though arguably that shouldn't even be the case. The economy, Harris is tied on this, which is crazy. And reducing inflation, Trump's actually up by 1. So for whatever reason, she's higher on some of these issues, even though arguably on paper she's worse than Biden. I'm not saying she's a better candidate than Biden. I actually think she's far worse than Biden. She's actually worse on the issues, and she was rated the most liberal senator in 2019. And we even see here on some of the issues in terms of favorabilities, immunity from criminal prosecution for Donald Trump, that's in the negative. Building a border wall, that's actually in the positive in terms of an issue. That necessarily wasn't in the positives before. We see trade barriers to protecting U.S. manufacturing. That's very popular now. We even have legal marijuana is actually ridiculously popular. Even a majority of the electorate approves of that. Reinstatement of Roe v. Wade has a plus 23% approval rating on here. We even see rescinding Obamacare is kind of unpopular. So we're entering a weird kind of area where Harris is kind of actually gaining nationally on Donald Trump. And, other pollsters that have her up by 4 or have her up by 2 are definitely oversampling Democrats. But these pollsters are within the national average, and they were very accurate in 2020 and in other races nationwide or internationally after the 2020 cycle. So we possibly may see the race actually tying up as the weeks go. And even my model has Minnesota, Maine, and New Hampshire now narrowly in the blue column. and Harris is only barely losing New Mexico by about a point and a half. Trump wins the swing states very easily, even more so than this, and he's winning in the model by about 4.9%. So I still have him being underestimated, but at the same time, it is true that Harris is narrowing up the race by quite a bit, and if this national resolve plus 1.6 stands, you will see Donald Trump end up potentially getting 313 electoral votes. Maybe Georgia's in the likely column. I wouldn't even argue that anymore because Harris has actually seen a little bit of growth in that state, believe it or not. She's actually seen a little bit of growth there, so I wouldn't even be surprised to see Trump win it by 3 or 4 now. But that's really what we're seeing in terms of the national scene. Harris is kind of giving Democrats a bit of a boost. And, you know, guys, the data before showed Donald Trump winning in an electoral college landslide. That's just the truth. And I'm right, because if it wasn't a landslide, Biden would have not dropped out of the race. It's just as simple as that. He would have not dropped out of the race if the race would have even been this close. And so now that, you know, Democrats are excited for a new candidate, some of them that were probably voting third party may actually be coming home because they feel like they have a good chance. Now, again, the race is still 3 months out. I argue Trump's going to school Harris in the debates, in my opinion, just based on the issues. She is very liberal, even more liberal than Joe Biden on a lot of these issues, especially regarding, you know, immigration. She's referred to the ISIS, the KKK. She doesn't want illegal immigrants to be treated as criminals, even though they are breaking the United States law. It's just the truth. They are crossing over the border illegally. So in terms of these issues, she's very, very liberal. And it may be that Harris probably starts doing a little bit worse as the campaign goes on. I suspect this is a honeymoon period. Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe she is going to gain in the polling. We will see in the upcoming weeks, but right now, we can't ignore the data, and this is what this channel is about. We look at the data and see it face value, and we see that Donald Trump is only winning the popular vote by less than 2 points, and that indicates that he would win the Electoral College with 313 electoral votes. It wouldn't indicate him winning New Mexico. He wouldn't win Minnesota. He wouldn't win New Hampshire or Maine at large for that matter. So, again, we are at a point where Donald Trump is gaining in the Electoral College quite substantially, to the point where it's like, okay, he may end up only win by 313 electoral votes. Again, this is where the data currently stands for this one national poll. My model has Donald Trump winning by more than this. He wins New Mexico. He's narrowly losing Minnesota and Maine. He could theoretically pick them off. They're within the margin of error, but we can't ignore the data, and I wanted to show you guys what our top-rated pollster here on the channel shows. And so that is basically it for this video. I wanted to show you guys what the most accurate pollster for 2020 shows for this election as of right now. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want more content just like this. And I will see you guys in the next video.